This is MonteCristo from ggChronicle. We're at day 2 of the Season 2 World Championship, and with me, of course, is George HotshotGG. George Elitis, how are you today?
I'm okay.
A little bummed out from your loss in the group finals yesterday. I want to talk briefly about your loss in the group stage. IG is a very good team that you actually have a lot of experience playing in some of the Korean show matches like Battle Royale. Why do you think that they've been so traditionally successful against you guys in particular?
Well, okay, so in the past when they've played IG, it's never been under like optimal circumstances. So, for instance, one of the times in the past we were in a LAN cafe with no vent because they actually couldn't support the bandwidth for vent. It was really, really bad. And Doublelift didn't have his stuff, and so it was just like, we were like, okay, we'll just go play and whatever. And that's one of the scenarios. So, like, we never took it really to heart, our losses. But this one, this one was just, is pretty messed up. One of our biggest weaknesses that I actually found in Korea was that we don't deal with, as a team, we don't deal with our bottom lane getting camped that well. And so they had a strategy where they literally opted to go no boots and camp our bottom lane. I didn't respond correctly. They didn't respond correctly, and we just got smashed from there.
IG is known for having an extremely aggressive bottom lane with Xiao Xiao and Kid, and the fact that they'll dive turrets, and Illusion will frequently come in as well. So, I mean, I can definitely see why you might have had problems if they were running that strat and you guys weren't expecting it. So, in terms of IG, they just actually lost to Moscow 5, so now they've been knocked out of the tournament 2-0 by Moscow 5. Moving forward in this tournament, who do you think has good odds to make it into the finals? What are your picks? What do you think the scenarios are going to be that are going to play out from here on forward?
So CLG is a really strong team, so I always have to give a shout out to them. I think they'll make it quite far, if not into the finals. And also, I have to give a shout out to Frost. Now, Frost is a very interesting team. I respect them greatly for the sole reason that they have the mentality of winners. They don't necessarily have the talent of winners, but they have the mentality of winners. And just the drive and focus and energy they bring, I think that itself will bring them far. Another one is Sword. I think Sword will win their game that they're playing right now. And I think they'll go far. Those are my top picks.
So I heard that you were talking yesterday to Cloud Templar from Frost about their practice regimen and kind of their mental attitude. Can you, since nobody got recording of that, can you tell us what that conversation was about and what he said, what you said, what you think about what he said? So
it was basically their perception about foreign teams, their perception about CLG. It was a whole slew of things. Some were personal, but I'll touch upon a few because, Reddit's been like going crazy or something. I haven't even read the threads yet. I'm sure I'll have fun reading them. But so one was the girlfriends. Cloud was like, your girlfriends are here. They take you off focus, yada, yada, yada. So I agree with Cloud, and like it depends, right? Girlfriends are a problem if they hinder you and they cause problems to your gaming and professional career. And so for my instance, Becca literally streams 14 hours a day as I do, and we barely share any time together, and I'm just like working as hardcore as I would be if I was single. And so Becca doesn't interfere with my life at all. Honestly, she used to sit by me and when I scrimmed and stuff like that and be like, you're being an idiot right now. And it opened my eyes. And I think she was a positive influence in my career. Well, it actually wasn't easy initially. Initially, it was a struggle to actually get to that point where someone actually changes their like thought process and their lifestyle to fit yours. Because being a gamer is tough. And if you want to have the mentality and train like Cloud Templar does and Frost does, if you want to go all in like that, you need to have someone like that that's willing to literally sacrifice having a normal relationship. And so we talked about this back and forth for a while, and they scrim, you have to understand, they scrim 6 to 7 days a week for 12 to 14 hours a day. And they have they're basically all in. They're all in on their professional gaming career, and it's tough on them. It's tough on them mentally, and I'm not necessarily sure that's the greatest thing for you know, them as human beings and even as players. And I think that it's really good, and I actually talked about this with him, to find a balance, to be happy, but also take what they've taught me. So we went to Korea, we learned a lot from them, and we became better players. But we can take more from them. We don't have to commit to training 14 hours a day, 7 days a week to beat them. Like even as we came into this tournament, we had decent odds of beating them. You know, it wasn't fate that we won this time, but they're not better. They're not so much better that they can just be like, you know, it's not like that. And it's like, we can still be successful in our own way. And to think that we can't be successful in our own way is just wrong. You look at Stefano from EG, he's very talented, but he manages his lifestyle in such a way that he can keep performing without burning himself out, without having that Korean lifestyle. And just scrimming and practicing and everything is okay, it's good, right? But there's a point where it starts to drop off, I believe, and it's really about finding that balance. Now, I think that it's hard for all the Westerner teams and foreigner teams to start finding that balance. Personally, I felt as myself as like full Korean, and that's the mentality I wanted to be. Like 8 months ago, I was sitting in Korea and I was like, let's have a gaming house, let's have a coach, let's do all these things. And like, it sounded ridiculous at the time, but that's the way I wanted to live my life. And you know, my team back when Sane and Elements were on the team, and GG and Shalster, they weren't ready for that. And it's about a transition into that lifestyle to like find that balance. They were too far on the Westerner lifestyle to be extremely successful, and we're working at it and we're getting better. And I think we'll hit a point where we will see frost, and you know, they'll be scrimming an extra 4 hours a day, 1 day a week, big deal. We'll still win.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of the kind of psychology studies out there that say that taking breaks is very important for the brain to process information, and that kind of Korean grind, you know, in my mind, isn't necessarily the best way to be good at the game, because it makes you unhappy. It affects your emotional state too much.
It's also, there's that aspect, and I actually think inherently Koreans are better at dealing with that, which is a plus to them. But League of Legends is a unique game. You can make up for a lot by just having that natural intelligence. You can't grind to be amazing. Like, you'll have mechanics, but as far as like, you can craft up a strategy and win the next day, even though they practice 14 hours a day. And at the end of the day, right, they have to win, right? Like, and if they lose to us after we've balanced our lifestyle like that, come season 3, you know, what is it going to say? Is it going to say that like we finally hit the sweet spot of like where we're supposed to be, or how we're supposed to train, or how they should what they should take from us? I don't know. We'll see as it comes. I know it's hard to kind of understand, because I'm kind of piecing it together right now, but.
Well, I think it's important. I mean, you've now have time to think about what your season 3 is going to look like for you guys, because you're guaranteed in. I mean, you know, even though you lost yesterday, you still have a lot of time left to train, and in a very secure fashion. So big advantage. When you say that CLG is making slow steps towards a training regimen, and you said earlier that, you know, a long time ago you were looking at going a full-on Korean. Can you describe your perfect idea of training now, and what are you moving towards? Because it sounds like it's somewhere between where you are now and full Korean, but I just don't know. What does that look like in your mind?
So I think it's a balance between training really hard and training effectively. It's right now, like when we got into what I call the Korean grind, we had the wrong mentality going in. We didn't have a supportive mentality. We didn't have a good team atmosphere. It was more like, you failed here, therefore you do better here. That's not the mentality that we should share. We should share it as a team view. Like we should treat each other as a team. Whereas right now we're treating each other as individuals, and that's a very big problem in a team game. What they told me is you can always play the blame game. He can suck. No one's going to be perfect. And at the end of the day, there's something you can improve on. As long as you realize that there's something you could have done better, no matter what, then that's all you need. And like the players from Frost and Sword weren't exceptional when they joined the teams. They were 1,900 players. Like when they joined the teams, they were basically, they were nobodies, but they used their heart to carry them through to where they are now. And I think that's what CLG kind of lacks. And it's so hard to be conditioned into that. And we're working at it, and I guarantee you, this is my promise, is that I will have that done with the team no matter what it takes.
So this is what you were talking about, the champion mentality, when you were saying that you could see it in Cloud Templar and Frost.
Yes.
And I mean, I can see it in you. I mean, how determined you are. So you feel that that's something that you need to get the rest of the players on the team to feel as well on your team. How do you plan to get them to that point? Because it's really hard to instill that into somebody.
So it's definitely a balance. It's so hard to just like force someone to go on the deep end and do that, and it won't make them happy, and they might not perform. So you need to come in the middle and slowly progress as a team. I still have things I need to work on in terms of that aspect. So it's a struggle. We'll move on as a team, and hopefully we'll make it. And hopefully our performance next season will show that.
One of the things that in a ggChronicle interview with Najin Sword yesterday that they brought up was that they, as a team, they love playing board games together, and they go out and they do a lot of different activities as a team that doesn't relate to playing League of Legends at all. And they said that it made them feel more like brothers to do these things because it's still competitive, but it's not the blame game, like you were saying. It's more something fun that they can do together with no consequences to get to know each other's personalities. Is CLG planning to introduce anything like that to kind of get your personalities to mesh better, to get more of a teamwork frame of mind?
So that's like a process that needs to be acquired slowly over time. It needs to be conditioned into people. Everybody was like I'll tell you, all North American teams and all European teams will basically spit that backwards, and it has to be basically given like a little bit at a time. Because if you tell someone that your mentality is wrong, it's terrible, you need to be like them, they won't take it well, and it's really a fight. It's the hardest fight that I think North American teams and European teams will have to accomplish in all of esports, because number one, we don't have the coaches to really, like Frost and Blaze, their coach on air is really it's really important, and the way they grew up too is really important to the way that they perceive a team should be. Like their whole mentality is like totally different. It's like, whereas we came in and we were like, dude, we love playing video games. We were really good, and then it just blows up in your face, and you're like, how do we deal with this? Like, and how do you expect all these guys in North America and Europe that really had no structure, that had no opportunity? Like, we weren't given the opportunity to do it full time, professionally. Like, we had obligations. Like CLG, we have to stream to live, and other teams like that, they don't have to worry about those things. And it's about trying to get there, and we're doing it. We're working hard, and we're looking to represent North America, Europe as best as we can.
I mean, that's I totally agree with you. And for those of you, a lot of you guys don't see on air the Azubu Blaze and Frost coach. I've met him twice now at the MLG Summer Arena, and again here with Frost. He's just an amazing presence. He's like a very solid, like. He has certain magnetism to him. He is very attentive to his team without being overbearing. He lets them do their thing. He has like total faith in them, but it's like when they need him, he comes in and kind of rebalances their emotions and kind of talks it out with them, and he leads them. It's my impression that he leads them to the answers instead of just supplying them himself. He's very good at questioning. Exactly. So he's very interesting. And we have Reach here too, who's a Brood War legend who coaches Najee's Sword, and it's a very different style than you see. Yeah. It's not like hands-on coaching. It's more of I don't know, how would you describe it?
It's like we have talent. Like a lot of North America and Europe have talent, but Korea and like China, they have direction. They have kind of support. They have the understanding. They have like kind of the mentality that no one else got to learn, and that's what they have up on us. But season 3, that's not going down. We're changing that. CLG will change that.
So you want to entirely break the mold, come up with that championship mentality, and do it in your own way instead of following this rubric.
Yes. That's basically what we want to do, and that's basically what I want to do, and I will make it happen no matter what.
What happens if one of your guys doesn't want to follow your plan? I mean, I hope that all of them are on board with this, because I find what you're saying very inspiring. But what in that eventuality, what would happen with CLG?
Well, it can't all be up to me, because I could be too much out there. I could be too Korean, I guess, and that would be bad. If I was too Korean and no one else wanted to fit, it just wouldn't work. So I need to also learn how to kind of like figure out the sweet spot between business, between going full Korean. Like we still have financially, we have to keep us alive from streaming and stuff. So we still have that to worry about. But I don't know, we'll see.
Do you think CLG EU has the champion mentality?
I think a little bit more so than CLG.NA, but no, not even close. All I give you, no Westerner team has it, except for maybe N5 a little bit, but it's actually M5 more so than anyone else, because their coach is really like, he's strict and he's beast. And as a team though, I'm not sure they have it in them. Like they're all talented, they're really great people, but they could be better if they just had the drive. Like they all have drive. It's so hard to explain, but I'm trying to piece this together. It's really hard, because M5 is a team. It's like in the middle. They're in the middle. They're finding their balance, and they've done better than everyone else, I think, but they're still not there, you know. And I think once we get salaries and everything else, and we don't have to really worry about, you know, finances, that's bam, one thing that steps us closer to becoming true professionals.
Yeah, I agree entirely. And you guys are getting a lot of the sponsorship deals these days, so hopefully sometime soon you'll be able to float yourself without streaming, right? Yeah. That's the goal?
No. I would never float myself without streaming, because there's a connection to the fans that's really important that I think I need to maintain. I get drive from my fans, and honestly, it makes me focus, it makes me push, and a lot of people, like, I think I personally need that. I'm not sure about my teammates, but we'll see. And to keep that connection, I need to stream. I need to be there for them. So.
Well, I know your fans love it. So.
Yeah, of course. But there's also a point where I'm not gonna go underground again like I did in Korea. It just wasn't worth it. Where we just disappeared for 4 months.
Do you find that you get something from the streaming as well? Does it help balance your emotional life a bit better to have that connection with the fans instead of just practicing all the time in a vacuum and never seeing that, kind of having that reciprocal relationship?
Well, there's actually stuff to learn from solo queue. There is stuff to learn, so you can still make that practice effective. Not only that, you can also arrange scrims, like online scrims of just standard play, that sort of thing. There, you get the practice and you get the connection with the fans, and it's just all about making the perfect balance, crafting the perfect the perfect like mix to have like the ultimate like I guess life like goals. I don't know. It's so hard to explain. It's really like this was all like I had like an idea of it a long time ago, but it was never like I knew what I needed to do. But it's starting to piece together. My eyes are starting to open to like what I need to do and what the team needs to do to be successful in the future.
So I just want to wrap up real quick with talking about TSM versus Frost. You know TSM so well from having played against them so many times over the years. How do you think that match is going to go?
I don't know. It's like the sad thing is that these games are like BO1 and they're like, or sorry, these games are BO3, but it's like anything can happen. I can see any team winning. It's not like I would have to give it to Frost though. Just like I don't see it in like TSM. Like they're talented. They're super talented, and that's what they have going for them. But in terms of like sheer drive, they have nothing. And that's why I just don't see TSM. Like even if TSM wins, it won't be a long-term win. They need to have the drive to be successful all the time, and they just don't have that.
That's very interesting. Well, thank you so much for the interview.
Thanks.
Thanks.